Sorry, I'm not there today, so I'm going to give you some instructions on how to complete today's assignment. You're going to go to Schoology, assignment 6.1, Revolution in the English Colonies, and you're going to download this document here. In your textbook, you're going to go to chapter 4, section 3, which begins on page 126. So I'm going to walk you through an example of what you're going to do. And so you have this section here, supporting the war effort. You see, supporting the war effort. Not all of these match up exactly to what's there, but you'll be able to figure it out. After reading this, you should be able to list some of the evidence that corresponds to this section. And so you see there different information on the war effort. Now, in addition to listing this evidence, what we also want to do is make meaning out of this. So what is all this telling us? And so now this question is not something that I will give you for the subsequent topics here. And so this is something that you can actually evaluate. And so as you're reading all this, you're like, all right, well, maybe the question that comes to mind is, given these challenges, why did the colonials or the American colonists choose to fight the British? And so you have to go back to previous lessons, all the conflicts that built up to this eventual war. And when you look at the evidence here with the evidence previously, you should be able to come to some sort of conclusion, such as this. Now, whether you write this or the question that you list is answered by the details, either way is fine. But this is to show you that just by reading this, you may not actually come up with this, but this is an example of something you could come up with to evaluate this information. Now you will continue the process. And so you see here, it doesn't say early battles, but it says something on the previous page, but you can see here Canada, New York, New Jersey. And so I have that listed here, and then the numbers correspond to these. So maybe you list Canada number 1, New York number 2, New Jersey number 3. Now what you want to do is you want to kind of summarize what's listed here in one sentence. All right, so what does all this tell us about Canada? Now don't focus on one singular event from Canada, but all of it. All right, so what does all this information tell us about the Americans in Canada? And so then when you're done with all that, then you're going to repeat the process and evaluate. So when you look at, okay, what does Canada, New York, and New Jersey tell us about the war? And so when you evaluate, you're like, oh, so based on this, the Americans might have thought that, and then you record your answer, or you record a question, and then you can list the answer as well. But maybe the question is actually answered by the evidence that you have listed here. Now, if you were to transfer this to your Cornell notes, if you write a question here, this question, such as this one here, this would go in the left column. This evidence would go in the notes section. And then if you choose to answer it, such as we did here, then you could also list that in there. But maybe you want to write this a little differently, maybe in bullets or something like that. Or maybe this is part of your summary in some way. But anyways, what we want to do is we want to make meaning out of the notes. What we're typically doing is we're writing notes and then we don't know what to do with them. And so this is just trying to reinforce the purpose of those Cornell notes. And so today you're going to complete A through F.